What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. So SIHH 2019 is well underway, and there are some definite hits and some definite misses, some winners and losers, if you will. So let's take some time and go ahead and look at these new releases, and I'll tell you what I think of them so far. It's 2:51 p.m. Let's get down to business. All right, so the SIHH 2019 new releases, there's some that I really like, and there's some that I don't like that much. Now guys, real quick, just bear with me. I have a bit of a cold, I'm a bit congested, a bit sniffly, but we will get through this episode because I've been getting a ton of questions about some of these new releases, and I'm very excited to look at them and talk to you about them. So when we're talking about SIHH 2019 winners and losers, unfortunately, we're gonna start off with a very big loser, kind of the elephant in the room here, the new AP code 1159. Now, why did we ever complain about the Royal Oak? I don't know, okay, I'm very guilty of this. So ever since I started this channel, okay, I would always complain that AP has pretty much turned into Royal Oak. Okay, show me something different. Stop making different iterations of the Royal Oak. I'm just sick of the Royal Oak. Again, I just wanted to see something different. So what happened? Well, AP listened and they showed us something. Guys, listen, okay, I'm not trying to bash AP as a company. I think they honestly were doing their part, listening to the watch community. People were sick of Royal Oak after Royal Oak after Royal Oak, and AP just overcorrected. I mean, these new APs are bland at best and Daniel Wellington at worst. These boring indexes, that really awkward date window, it's just, everything seems like an afterthought. And hey guys, I'm not totally sure what I expected from AP. It definitely was not this. I don't understand the reasoning. Why release a new Holy Trinity watch that has the same aesthetics as a very simple, bland Instagram fashion watch? I don't get it. So yes, unfortunately, the first watch on our list today is going down as a loser, the new AP code 1159. A loser. But guys, real quick, I think AP did this on purpose. I think they're smarter than they let on, right? I think AP releases these boring, bland fashion watches because now everyone's just begging to go back to the Royal Oak. Please, Royal Oak, take me back. And how convenient, AP just released a bunch of brand new Royal Oaks. That's right, guys, AP just released a whole new line of 38mm Royal Oak chronographs, and they look pretty good. I mean, that's a whole lot of watch in a very, very wearable size, 38mm, gorgeous. So guys, the real winner in their new lineup is the new Royal Oak Jumbo Extra Thin with an almost salmon dial, just gorgeous. But with only 75 of them being made and about $56,000 a pop, I might have to start saving up. And hey, speaking of really, really expensive salmon dial watches, the next winner on our list is Longa's new Datograph Perpetual Tourbillon with a salmon dial, white gold case, solid pink gold dial, gorgeous. And I know I don't have to go on and on about Longa's Datograph. Everybody loves the Datograph. 41.5mm, about 14mm thick, so it's quite a bit of watch there. But again, guys, I'm a huge sucker for anything with a salmon dial. This new Datograph is a definite winner in my book. But okay, let's say you want something with some interesting complications. Let's say you want something super duper impressive and expensive, but you're not interested in wearing a 14mm thick watch on your wrist. Well, I have something for you. The new Vacheron Constantin Overseas Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin, only 8.1mm thick, incredibly sleek, and this rose gold option with that deep blue dial, it just pops. An absolutely gorgeous watch, in my opinion, a definite winner. You guys, just hear me out, something kind of interesting, something I've observed, something that confuses me when it comes to the Holy Trinity sports watches, right? We're looking at the AP Royal Oak, the Patek Nautilus. The Vacheron Overseas kind of gets lost in the mix, and it's kind of crazy to me because the Overseas is easily the best looking watch out of the bunch, in my opinion. But yeah, this Overseas, a definite winner. Unfortunately, most of the media coverage will be on the AP Royal Oaks. That's just how it is. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and move on to one of my favorite watch manufacturers ever, Cartier. I've said it a million times. Cartier is one of my favorites because they consistently make beautiful, elegant watches that are just so much fun to wear, so much fun to look at. And it's interesting, during this show, they have some definite winners and some losers. We'll look at the loser first. So as many of you know, I was a big fan of the Cartier Century Dual Time. It was one watch that had two separate mechanical movements, so you could keep track of two time zones. Now, when I heard that Cartier may be bringing back a dual time watch, I was incredibly excited, and I really wanted to take a look at the new Cartier Privé Tonneau dual time, one watch, one mechanical movement, two time zones, incredibly impressive. So why the heck am I adding it to the losers list? Well, It's ugly. So guys, listen, okay, it's fun to look at. It's incredibly mechanically impressive. But again, guys, at the end of the day, skeleton watches are just not for me. In my opinion, Cartier should have made a beautiful, elegant watch like they've always done, and then added a nice display case back so you can show off that beautiful, really, really impressive movement. All right, so we've taken a look at Cartier's loser. Let's go ahead and move on to Cartier's winners, the new Cartier Santos chronographs. Now at 43.3 millimeters, this watch is going to be quite substantial on your wrist, but I don't know, I've always been a fan of how solid these modern Santos look. I love them. But the main reason this watch made it on the winners list today is because it has a really interesting, really fun chronograph feature. The start stop button is over by the 9 o'clock, and then the reset is integrated into the crown. And I've heard these watches are going to retain a 100-meter water resistance rating, so just a lot of functionality here with the new Cartier Santos chronographs. All right, guys, so the next watch we're going to talk about today, I almost didn't mention in this episode because I don't know how I feel about it yet, okay? I'm kind of torn over it. But if I didn't mention it in this episode, you guys would go ballistic because this watch is easily the most talked about watch of the show. And I'm actually going to go ahead and look at my notes so I don't totally butcher this name. It's the JLC Master Grand Tradition Gyro Tourbillon Westminster Perpetual. Now guys, hear me out, okay? I'm gonna level with you. If I had that watch on my wrist, I wouldn't tell time with it, okay? I would just stare at that gyro tourbillon all day long, and JLC knows that. That's why they shrunk the dial. They don't care if you tell time with the watch. They want you to admire all that hard work. They want you to look at that gyro tourbillon. But again, I'm conflicted, okay? I don't know how I feel about this watch. It is so mechanically impressive. There's so much craftsmanship. That gyro tourbillon is just crazy cool. But I hate skeleton watches, okay? It's just too much. It mucks up the dial. The dial is shrunken and offset. I don't know if I like that, guys. I love mechanical movements. I love watching how things work. I am an absolute sucker for display case backs. You can call me a prude. Maybe I want a bit more modesty with my watches. I don't need the internals to be so forward. Leave something to be desired, will ya? Just give me a beautiful, clean dial. Maybe expose that gyro tourbillon so I can see it. But for the rest, just let me have a peek at that display case back. I will be satisfied, I promise. And guys, listen, at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't really matter. I'm just one guy. That JLC gyro tourbillon is clearly the star of the show. Let's see, only 18 of them will be made, and they're going to be about $900,000 a pop. But as much as it pains me, I'm adding it to the loser list. I'm sorry. All right, so we're actually going to wrap up this episode fairly quickly here because my voice is starting to escape me. Having a cold is no fun. I apologize. Just bear with me. So I've shared with you some of my top winners and losers of the SIHH 2019 show, but there's one company that has released some of the biggest winners in my opinion, and that's IWC and their new Pilot's watches. So badass, so tough, so stealth looking. The first one that caught my eye is the new Top Gun Ceratanium double chronograph. Now this watch has a 44mm Ceratanium case and a full double chronograph complication. It's also utilizing some anti-magnetism, and again, that super stealth sleek case. It just looks incredibly tough. And the second IWC that caught my eye is the new Time Zone or Spitfire. This watch is just ridiculous in the best way possible. 46 millimeters, it's got an enormous crown, but you don't need to use it to change the time zone because it's got a really cool bezel function. You twist the bezel and it actuates a jumping hour, so you can actually switch your time zone on the fly incredibly quickly and easily. Just very, very cool. So again, IWC with some really functional, really tough looking Pilot's watches, so I think they're the big winners so far. Now guys, I haven't seen everything from SIHH 2019, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is do a little recap, a little follow-up on Thursday's live stream, and we'll go ahead and talk about some more watches that we're excited about and some that maybe we're not so excited about. But as always, guys, I want to hear from you. What are your top picks? What are your winners and losers? What are you super excited about? Leave me a comment. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I want to hear from you. And as always, I want to thank you so much for checking out the Time Teller shop. Go ahead, click the link in the description below. I have watches, watch accessories like watch straps, watch toolkits, even watch winders. So click that link, shop around. You help the channel out a ton when you do that. So thank you. And if you're new here, if this is your first time joining us here at the Time Teller channel, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by, but go ahead, click that subscribe button. It takes 1 second and it helps me out a ton. And while you're at it, you can go ahead and click that little bell icon so you do not miss an episode of the Time Teller. There's just so much more awesome content on the way, and I promise I don't usually sound like a 100-year-old man. I just have a little bit of a frog in my throat. So I'm sorry. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with other watch enthusiasts, other people you think would enjoy this. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and have some medicine. Yeah,